Today in the crypto space, we see a bit of a bounce to the upside. Bitcoin up approximately 1.5%, and Ethereum hovering around that 1650 again, up approximately 2%. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins are pretty much in the green with some good gainers. Look at AVAX and of course Render. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, and of course, I want to talk about the bullish move to the upside that Render's in. So you know what? Let's talk about the news. Let's analyze the charts and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the altcoins, looking for opportunities, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of that volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click that bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects I'm going to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below, or you can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description, guys. All right, let's begin. What's going on here with Bitcoin? The market right now is pretty much following Bitcoin's lead. We've seen Bitcoin bounce to the slightly higher level. Nothing crazy. We're still within range, of course, within the sideways consolidation, and I've been getting a lot of notices that Bitcoin is above the 28,000, below the 28,000 all day long. Now, this is the thing, as we stay within this range, the question is Bitcoin going to break out of this range to the upside, or are we going to finally maybe get that little dip so that we can accumulate at lower levels? A lot of these altcoins right now are looking okay, like Solana looking strong, potentially looking for a range high situation, up approximately 4%. That's pretty good. But if you keep on going and scrolling down the market, the reality is, there's a bit of a relief to the upside. But generally speaking, a lot of these alts are still within that downward sloping or sideways position, which means that we could be seeing further retracement to the downside. Now, AVAX at the end of the day right now is up approximately 6%. Bullish for AVAX. That layer one is definitely doing a nice move to the upside, up 17% in the last 7 days, guys. I've been bullish on AVAX and talking about getting bullish on AVAX for the last little while. And DC and AVAX was the best time to do it, was before obviously liftoff. And now, guys, be careful, because in the last 7 days AVAX has been up approximately 17%, and you don't want to be exit liquidity, so be careful getting into fresh longs right now. If you're going to get into a long on AVAX, you got to wait for a pullback, get some oversold scenarios, and then look for some bullish divergence on lower time frames. But right now AVAX is definitely on a tear to the upside. We got lots of good movement. Monero looking okay, breaking a little bit of structure here, making a higher high. That's looking good. But generally speaking, you can kind of see, although some of these alts are up a little bit, like a percent or two, the overall structure is still sideways, still consolidating. And ultimately maybe we do get a bullish bounce to the upside, but really I think a lot of us are waiting to see what Bitcoin is going to be doing. So overall consensus right now is, we're up approximately 2%, give or take. Caspa looking pretty good, up another 4%, pretty good after a bit of a retracement, but nonetheless, what's going to be happening in the immediate short term. Now, it's especially that we're leading into a weekend, obviously. On Saturday and Sunday is not the greatest time to start looking for trading positions. The order books are very thin, and I tell you guys this every weekend. Just be careful. The volatility is really real. You got a lot of retail traders. The market makers are not really active, so that's the reality. And then you get a lot of the reactive price action on Monday, maybe even leading into Tuesday. You still have residual, price action, and in that case, you want to definitely, maybe take a break. Take a break this weekend. Study, prepare, practice. Do your thing, but don't get into some heavy trading leverage positions, of course. Okay, but as you can see, this general market is still kind of dying down a little bit. Maybe the volatility is ready for a squeeze. Maybe we could see a little bit of a pop to the upside. A lot of them are kind of looking like they want to roll over to the upside. You kind of see that, but my question is are they rolling, or are they getting a bounce off of a oversold condition? Are they oversold? Are they getting the sign of bullish divergence, or is this just going to be a little bit of relief to the upside until we get that continuation, right? So we got to kind of zoom in. And these little graphs here on CoinGecko show us very zoomed in price action. So zooming out is probably the best thing to do to see exactly how this price action is playing out big picture. Okay, so we're going to take a look at Bitcoin in today's video, of course, and then we're going to take a look at a really good bullish project. Of course, render is the project for today, and render has been retracing, and now it's getting a bit of relief to the upside, and I still am in that camp that I'm looking for a lower level on render before I scale in heavily, and we're going to take a look at that chart to see if that is even possible. But Trust Wallet, look at that, looking like it wants to roll over, and the rest of the market is not looking the strongest, to be honest. Yes, it's good, like I'm not going to knock it, it's pretty good. GMX up 4%, Mina Protocol up 3.5%. That's pretty good, but nothing really that's making me so convicted that, another move, a major move to the upside is in the works. Let's take a look at Bitcoin, guys. I know you're here to talk about charts. Let's use Bitcoin as a leading indicator and see what Bitcoin has to offer. In the last little while, we did get a nice little bounce to the upside. In this consolidation, we've been bouncing above the 28, below the 28, up and down, up and down. And of course, a lot of us are waiting for this consolidation to be over. Is there any signal that we can use here that suggests that maybe we're rolling over? Let's look at this in a little bit more detail. Bitcoin right now going sideways, of course. Are we in overbought conditions? Not yet. So this is the thing, guys. We've been talking about this scenario for the last little while, and I'm expecting that Bitcoin in the short term potentially gets into overbought conditions. If it gets overbought, expect a little bit of resistance at the golden pocket, at this diagonal trend line, at this horizontal resistance. Expect some sort of reaction right around here. Price target is at about 28,900, give or take. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at. Now, if we do eventually roll over here, if we actually get a rollover move right here based on the divergence that's on the MACD, you can see higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the MACD histogram bars. That suggests that maybe we can get a divergence and finally roll over and come back to range lows. 25Ks it possibly could be. Okay, the only thing that I can see that's still bullish here on the MACDs, the EMAs are facing up, and we still have green histogram bars. Let's be real with that. We still got the green histogram bars, which suggests that the momentum is still potentially looking for further movement up. Okay, so let's be careful here. It's not, in my opinion, getting short is not what I would be doing. I would be considering maybe taking a bit of profit. I would be trailing up a stop loss, maybe right here at the 200 daily EMA, right around there, because that could act as support once again. Okay, so that's something to consider, that right now we broke above the 200 daily, which is a strong signal, and then maybe we get that bounce and then a continuation up. That is very, very possible here. Now, if we break below, guys, that's not good. That's actually a sign of weakness, and that's where you want to cut yourself out of any long position. So that's why stop loss around that 200 daily or slightly below it is actually not a bad place to consider, de-risking and just exiting positions. And if you happen to get into a long position here at the bottom of the range at about 25K, where we were talking about this bullish divergence, yeah, for sure, take a bit of profit. That stop loss right here would be absolutely a great scenario, because you're going to basically get stopped out in profit. And that's what you kind of want to do, right? De-risk as best as you can, and stop loss is a great way of mitigating your risk in case we get that rollover. So Bitcoin right now, I'm still feeling like it's a 50-50 shot. Do we get to the golden pocket? Do we get to about 28K, 28,500, 28, right around this area? We got to see where that momentum kind of peaks, or are we coming down to about 25, maybe even a little bit higher, 25,500, something like that, right around this area to test this horizontal support once again. That's something that definitely could happen, but I feel like we need to get a little bit more signal. On the 4-hour, we came from overbought. Right, we're slowly coming down in the chop zone. We're getting a bit of a bounce to the upside. This is something that I expected, and we're getting a bit of relief. And let's see what kind of divergence, if we get divergence. We can get a higher high here and get to that golden pocket and still make a lower high on the RSI, giving us that divergence to the downside. Okay, so right now we're still kind of bullish here, both on the 4-hour and on the daily. Looks a little bullish, like we're trying to get out there. No signs of bearish divergence just yet anywhere, so it could be a continuation up in the immediate short term. But getting into fresh longs, like I mentioned, risk to reward is not that healthy. It's 50-50. I'm bullish because I anticipate that if you have entered here, you're still in a bullish stance, so continuing that bullish stance is still healthy. But getting into a bullish stance right now is risky. You get what I mean? All right, guys. So that's my take on Bitcoin. Let's use it as an indicator. That means that if Bitcoin continues pushing up, a lot of the altcoins could potentially push up with it, and Render could definitely be one of them. Okay, let's take a look at Render here. What's going on with Render? Render has been a great project overall. Price action has been amazing. Just recently, like, you know, upon this dip, now this is the time to, you know, expect, you know, maybe we're gonna get that overbought condition and roll over. Like, we're almost entering that overbought. In fact, it looks like we entered it. Yeah, we did. We got in here. We're here, and the majority of the move should already be done. And the reality is, when are we gonna get signs of weakness from these bulls? That's the truth. Now it's not time to get into fresh longs based on daily. If you're gonna get into a fresh long, you gotta do it in lower time frames, and if you're going to do it in lower time frames, you're going to have to get in and get out quicker. It's not a big move. It's not a longer hold. It's a shorter time hold, like the 4 hour, maybe a day, 2 days maximum based on the 4 hour. On the daily, you can hold up to, you know, a few days to about a week, maybe sometimes 2. It all depends on the consolidations in between, if they take time or not, right? So right now you can see we're an overbought, very overbought on the daily. We're getting there. So the point to get long right now is not it. You got to wait, be patient, wait for a retracement, and then maybe go for a long. So what we can do is come back down again and maybe get another impulse. But are you going to try to, you know, get that last little impulsive move on the daily? That's dangerous, guys. I would be in this mindset right now, would be, you know, let's anticipate taking profit. Let's talk about profit taking. We broke above this horizontal. Okay, now we're testing this level right here, and you can see we got some lows. We got, you know, the bit of cluster supply and demand here. There's a lot of chop action right around this area. What leads me to believe that we could get a bit of a rejection is that there's no volume in this move to the upside. So there's not a lot of market participants really involved in this price action. And, it, you know, although it's looking really good, it's up 3.5%, give or take, right? We're not really in overbought conditions with showing us bearish divergence. So what I'm saying is that we could potentially get up a little bit more, maybe hit about $1.90, give or take. That wouldn't be a bad area to expect a bit of a reaction. So I'm going to put a horizontal in here, a very light one, just a small one, just to kind of say, look, around this area is where I would say, look, if we start seeing signs of bearish divergence, be careful. And obviously the next area is right about this level, right? That's what I would be looking at. We have tops, lots of tops right over here, and that would be another interesting area to expect, you know, a little bit of a reaction where you want to de-risk, because if you enter a long position based on this bullish divergence right here, oversold conditions, nice EMA cross on the MACD, a nice bullish divergence right here, a nice pump to the upside, back test confirmation, continuation, and that this is it. Is this just an ABC correction to the upside where we get a nice impulsive move now to the downside once again for a continuation, right? That's the reality. If that's the case, guys, Render is not going to hold up at this level. Okay, we're going to potentially come back down and test liquidity where it matters, which is between about $1.16 to about 92 cents, more or less. This is the zone where we want to hunt. This is where the price actions want to come down and hunt liquidity and get people wrecked. The people that went long here, they want to get wrecked. That's the problem. And if you can see, there's a lot of weakness in this area, and this is the top of the gap, and we got a bit of support here that could act as support. No guarantees here, guys, because you can see overall from about $1.15, like I mentioned, to about 61 cents, there's not much supply and demand. If you look left and we can add more price action here, you know, it starts to get really weak here and it improves a bit, right? So we got some tops and so on. So this is why I'm putting a lot of emphasis at this area. It's because you can see that there's a pretty weak gap here with no supply and demand to act as support if we do get that retracement or another impulsive move to the downside. So impulsive move, retracement, impulsive move, retracement, another impulsive move, possible. Okay, and we can continue coming down and hitting those lower levels. Now on the daily, like I said, if we're going to show bearish divergence on the daily, let's get, you know, protective, because we could come down to these lower levels. Let's go on with the 4 hour. Let's see what's happening here. 4 hour, honestly, not really crazy about it either. We're getting higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the RSI. That's class A bearish divergence on the 4 hour. Okay, so the daily is not really giving us a signal, which means that we could chop around on the daily, maybe even invalidate this bearish divergence by making a higher high on the RSI. But what is the likelihood of that happening? Let's be real. Look at this RSI, way high up there. So I would put more credence on the fact that we can make a triple drive of the bearish divergence, meaning get another drive to the upside with regards to price action. So another move, let me show you what I mean. Three drives of bearish divergence kind of looks like this, where right now we get a bit of a rejection and then we come up and we make a higher high. Okay, we come up, make another higher high, and then if we make another high, the trend line on the price action is obviously going to look something like this. However, what we want to see is that this RSI basically continues going downward sloping. And I'm going to extend this just to show you what I mean. Let's say we do one of these, we come up, hit the trend line, come down, all right, you get what I mean? And then we do one of these. And while that's happening, the price action is continuing to the upside. That is a third drive of bearish divergence, nonetheless, bearish divergence. And it's very likely that we hit, again, this level on the next impulsive move while getting that third drive of bearish divergence. Then you would have to, build that conviction once again. You might get stopped out if you get put a very tight stop loss, but then you're still looking for signs of a continuation of the bearish divergence, that it's still intact and not invalidated, and then we could potentially continue to the downside. The MACD right now is looking pretty good. EMA is crossing to the upside, green histogram bars up, which means that there's a high likelihood that we're going to get a continuation to the upside based on the MACD. So statistically speaking, short term, I'm expecting render to go up a little bit more. Okay, that's statistically speaking. Maybe another impulse up, maybe a little bit more. That's fine. But the 4 hour is still it's still right now making that lower high on the RSI. The MACD looks like it's looking like it wants to push up still, but bit of a mixed message. The daily still bullish. EMAs are facing up and the RSI is still facing up, but we're very close to a potential level of resistance. So I still feel like a little bit of a move up, but is it worth it to get in it now? The time to get in it was down here, when you're getting the sign of bullish divergence at horizontals, especially in oversold conditions, and the back test, which confirmed this as a low, as a higher low, and then a continuation to the upside. And honestly, even breaking this previous high, breaking structure, cup and handle, all of the above, this was a great time to go long. But now is not the time. We could eventually roll over here, come back down, and test this thick white line as support, and that might be your next opportunity to go long once again. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here, guys. I really would like to see the daily, get that divergence, get roll over here and come down to oversold conditions, and then we'll decide when we're going to be buying the dip based on horizontal support. Right now, we're not really getting any support here. We're not getting any resistance either. So that's the thing, like very similar to what we talked about Bitcoin. If you're not getting the signal, if you're not getting any confirmations, you're not getting volume, you're not getting anything, then what's the point of getting into a trade? And again, we're leading into the weekend. The weekends are very fickle, meaning that the price action is really, really hard to address, given the fact that you got a lot of retail traders, you got a lot of small position sizes being traded, right? And the market makers are not active, so the order books are thin, and in that way you can see a lot of price manipulation if there are some retail traders with some big positions there. So that's something to consider, right? Something to consider is that we could see a lot of wicks, a lot of price manipulation, fake outs, and liquidity grabs at levels where you may not want to see that happen. So right now, my take on render is, again, just big picture. Let's see how this resolves. I really doubt, in my opinion, right now, obviously not financial advice, that we're going to start making higher highs right now. It looks like we're looking for a confirmation high, a lower high, but we could come up a little bit higher, still have a little bit more strength to get that. But then once we get that confirmation, guys, it's not looking good for render. It's very likely that we come back down and potentially hit this level. And this is where I'm really, really, really interested in. Okay, so that's my take here, guys, on render. Bullish project, definitely. Lots of good fundamentals, lots of good price action right now. The community's been loving it for the last little while, but you got to be protective. DCA, nice and slowly, find good levels of support. And guys, that's all I got. I'm going to be live tonight at 7:30 Eastern talking about crypto news and price action. Feel free to join, guys. In fact, join the Discord. The Discord's a great community, lots of good alpha trade setups, fundamentals, learning material, and all that good stuff. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description. And guys, I'll see you tonight. Feel free to join so you can make those requests. Take care, have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip. Thank you.